No, I know I can go live. I can't turn my volume.
Oh, can I join?
Does it go?
Right, are we live? So it's 8 o'clock. Are we all live? I have the room. So are we live? Are we live? Yes. There's something counting down here. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first ever AgriLeader Circle of Influence. Very welcome. We're live from the AHDB offices. And so let's see who we've got around the room. Tom, let's start with you. Tell us a bit about yourself.
So I am Tom Pemberton, a farmer from the North England. I am a dairy, beef and sheep, do a bit of diversification in farm shop. We deliver milk to doorstep for about 60 years. And I personally do a little bit of YouTube as well.
Excellent.
My name is Charlotte Ashley and I'm a beef and sheep farmer from Cumbria. I am on YouTube and better known for TikTok.
Right.
And also, first time on toll roads. If anybody and Starbucks have a drive-through. I'm Becca. I'm from Boots and Heels, a farmer in North Yorkshire, sheep and arable, and I do a bit of podcasting on the side as well.
Excellent. Joe.
I'm Joe Seals, so we're beef farmers and we do a bit of arable, so it's a mixed farm, mainly finishing Aberdeen Angus cattle, which we love because they're just so like relaxed and calm. And yeah, started on TikTok. Never thought I'd be doing anything like this at AHDB and things like that. Like this feels like it's way out of my league, but anyway, yeah, loving it.
Right.
Hi, I'm Georgina Sammut. I'm currently working up in Lincolnshire on a farm which is a mix of flowers, arable, and potatoes. Yes.
What flowers?
Good question. I don't know. I ran you for you in 2 weeks. Give me a chance.
I'm Ollie Harrison, a cereal farmer from Merseyside, which is near Liverpool, if anyone doesn't know where that is. I do a little bit of YouTube. I have a contract on YouTube or Ollie Blogs, whichever you want to find it. This live stream that we're watching on that is on everyone else's device around here. It's the first for us to do, and it's actually live on the AHDB's YouTube channel as well. So if you get fed up with the phones flying around the room, you can watch on the main camera at the other end. Over to Mark.
Good evening all. So, first circle of influence, we've got these great people here, and I must admit, but as a southerner,
he's got no sense of humour.
Too many northerners here.
We need a translator.
So, quick about AHDB, if you don't know, we're a statutory levy board. So we collect levy from these guys around here, and our main role is to try and support the industry in various different ways in terms of exports, market research, knowledge exchange, and all sorts of events. And a bit of a plug up on the screen there. We've got a really important meeting on the 10th of November, the Delivering the Future of Farming. It's an online event where you guys can find out from the vote that we had earlier in the year where your levy's being spent and where the sector plans are going over the next 5 years.
Max.
My name is Max Mcgillivray from Beanstalk Global. We have a great ongoing series with the AHDB where we interview some cracking people. Sherry, Olympic skier, we interviewed last week, but for the last month for the second time. We're a media platform that mainly major on the likes of LinkedIn and Facebook rather than some of these guys, which is why I think it's so inspired by Mark, Isaac and the rest of the HDB social media team to get all of these influences together so that we can create this change that we want to see. So yeah, let's see how this first broadcast goes.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Isaac from the AgriLeader team. What we try and do in AgriLeader is we try and help people lead themselves better, lead their people and lead their business. So, Mark, circle of influences. Tell us a bit about that.
So a bit of a random idea, but that's going to happen somewhere.
Charlotte, was that you again? Like one strike. I'm struggling to join anyway.
So circle of influences, it's a bit of an idea. It's about focusing on what you can control. And what you can control, it's about the influence that you have within your circle. And that's all about great conversations with great people. We've brought some great people around the table today that are all farmers, that we can have some great conversations and actually make that start and start having the conversations.
And we're making the start here, but chucking your comments into these guys' feeds chat us and tell us what we should be talking about in the future. Hopefully, if we'll have them back, if Ollie behaves himself, we're going to try and do this every so often. And yes, and so tell us what the topics are you want us to discuss about or talk about. Right, let's kick off with the first question. You guys are all facing quite a lot of challenges at the moment, so let's start on that. What do you see as your biggest challenges at the moment, and what should we be talking about in the future? Tom, let's start with you.
The biggest challenges in farming, probably input prices.
Yeah.
I think everyone can agree with that. The price of everything seems to be going up. Yeah, the price of the end product is kind of high at the moment, but the price at the start what we're buying at is super high. So I think that's the biggest issue on our farm anyway. Or, well, the biggest worry probably.
Yeah, Tom, it's not just now, it's like a year down the line of commodity prices drop, but your
That's
input
it.
prices, your
100%. We're buying 12 months in advance, really, aren't we? Of putting nitrogen onto a field, making that grass grow. For me, to make silage, to make the cows eat it, is your winter feed.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the arable guys are the same, but I can just relate to myself. And nitrogen for us has been the big cost. And obviously we're a family-run business, so when I know costs go up, like my mum has to pay them, so me and my dad will find out. We know about it anyway. We just don't tell her until the bill comes. But it needs to happen. You can't. For our system, we can't grow grass without that nitrogen.
Yeah.
And then it got away from nitrogen, which is the easy one. Obviously, we've got cake. Cake price has gone up for us. We put a bit of cake into our cows, or even young stock just to grow.
Yeah.
And the arable guys will say, obviously, the price of wheat has gone up, but the price of our inputs has gone up, so the price of the wheat's going to go up. The price of the wheat goes up, the price of feed goes up.
It's interesting what you said though about you buying things a year in advance. Well, in arable, you're buying things a year in advance and then you're selling it a year after as well.
Yeah.
Like with milk, it's kind of like you sold within the first week.
So are you saying the crops that you're selling now at the higher prices, the crops you're selling now at high prices, you were paying less for the nitrogen stuff? I know it works out right, but at the moment
2022 now, so I'm buying fertilizer for 2023, the crop that I'll sell in 2024.
Yeah.
Which is
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the whole like bankrolling of that.
it's impossible to budget.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And I
Especially with
think,
interest rates going up.
and I think from my perspective, it's that farmers are taking on all the risk in that with that. And so how do we have the confidence to invest if you can't guarantee anything, and often you're buying high and selling low? So we're asked to be as innovative and efficient as possible, and we're doing what we can, and farmers want to be all of these things, but sometimes we just can't be.
And if you want to invest in a new grain store, a new combine, with interest rates going up, again, it's just another uncertainty, another added cost. This is all very dim and gloom. But is there light at the end of the tunnel, or is there just no end?
We've just got to keep going, haven't we? Like as farmers, I think, like you need that nitrogen to grow your crops. It's like you're gonna have to. It's gonna have to be.
I could answer that one a little bit. Again, I see it from my side, dairy side. So prices, we've never seen it hit 50p a litre.
Yeah.
Generally, we've broken the 50p a litre. We've broken the 99p for a 2 litre in a supermarket. Do you know what I mean? That was a big thing, because the supermarkets were saying we don't want to pay or charge our customers over £1 for a 2 litre. Now that's happened. That's broken. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that input prices come down. But we've broken that. And if the supermarkets can put their prices a little bit high because they were scared, because we all knew that milk was a loss leader. Now they don't have to do that. It becomes a normal that milk's at 120, 130, 140 higher for the 2 litre. So looking at the bright side of it, trying to look at every cloud of silver lining, hopefully it's broken that bit. Yeah. And when prices come down, they're not scared of going, okay, well, customers will pay more than £1 for a slip. We all knew it. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
I was going to use the sugary drink example, that a can of sugary drink is £2.50, and it does nothing for you nutritionally, whilst your milk.
It'll definitely as well.
Yeah, and is it the same with wheat as well, breaking the 300?
Yeah, so it's hovering back around the 300, but was it April to May time? It's 300 and
so what
200 was a barrier for a while.
What we said, we've got to push it upstream to the retailers.
Maybe it is
to so that you're getting more returns because your supply costs are going up.
Yeah. So maybe it's a bit of pain now for some goods for 5 years down.
Okay.
The only issue with it, I like us, like a lot of farmers, when the price goes good and stuff, we go, okay, like let's weigh in, let's produce lots of milk. You know, that could be, that's what we don't want to do. Is go, oh, produce lots of milk, then have a lot of surplus. You better, well, in the nicest way, you better having 2% demand than 5% over demand, because that's when prices drop out.
Yeah.
From a beef and lamb side, what do you guys think, you know, what's your approach?
With everything going up and beef being like a premium meat, I think it like can get difficult in that people will just swap onto chicken and will just swap onto pork because of cheaper meat. So like, yeah, when things are getting more expensive, I think it looks gloomy for beef.
Downtrend.
Yeah.
And I would agree on that. And we've actually got to build this relationship with the consumers. They appreciate that what we're producing is high welfare, and we are really trying to do things for the environment. And if that means making better decisions on which products you choose to buy, whether that is in the supermarket, because there is always going to be a place for supermarkets. It's unrealistic to think that we're all going to shop at a butcher and a farm shop for everything that we buy on our shopping list, but it's about educating the consumer, and there's different cuts of meat which are more affordable, and actually it's looking at how to cook them and then not waste them as well. So we've got that relationship to build with the consumer more and more as well.
I think that's huge. I think that you know, so we all make emotional decisions, and you know, especially so with food. So I think it's building, and that's why things like what you guys do on social media are so great, because you know, it builds that rapport and gets people to know what we do and how we do it on the farm.
And that's such an important part. You think of all the meetings that Isaac and Mark and I've gone to over the last 20 years about trying to get the consumer excited about food. 6 out of 10 kids don't know where fruit and veg comes from.
No.
But with the likes of yourself influencing them, just the folks here, can you just run around the numbers of people that you've got connected to you, so we can just understand? Go on, just quickly around the table, just rough numbers.
What do you mean?
Of followers that you have.
Don't make me follow him.
Next, it's not with you.
I've got my mum.
It's a bit questionnaire actually, on a serious note, because we survive with not exporting material and not importing. Self-sufficiency.
I reckon we could.
Isn't it August we run out?
Yeah, we're not 60 something%.
Living and survival are two very different things, aren't they?
Precisely.
Survive, yes, live. Will we stop people eating avocados?
No.
No. Will we stop people eating strawberries in December?
No, because the consumer doesn't know where they come from. They don't have that.
Yeah, but even then, they know that they can get it.
Yeah.
It's
available.
We're left the world we live in, we can get it. So why? Oh, I fancy strawberries. It's Christmas, it's special. I'm going to pay X amount for it.
Yeah.
He's going to do it. You
But
know
then-
what happens at Christmas?
But then there's technology that Dyson Farms with
Right,
their amazing greenhouse, they will be growing strawberries 12 months of the year, and there's vertical farming to
Well, you just
farming
can't
in
with
the
the
UK.
energy prices at the minute.
Yeah, no, but with LED lighting, the energy prices are
Relatively low,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah, but then that comes to, are we going to be self-sufficient as a nation in supplying? There's a comment that we've talked about before, that's within government, there's the statement that we're but 4 missed meals from anarchy. So Michelle and her 1-bedroom flat with 3 kids in London,
right.
if she can't get 4 meals for her kids, the government's got a problem. So you always notice that the government is always trying to make sure that there's food security within the UK. And again, why you guys are so important.
But sometimes do you think we're almost speaking from farmers, and we have the luxury of knowing what is in season, being able to know that we've probably got one of our own lambs in the freezer. We've got probably an Arga, and maybe we work at home quite a bit, so we can just nip home to put something in the Arga. So for us, cooking is easy and a luxury. Picking stuff is easy and a luxury. You know, you talked about potatoes. I bet you could take a bag of potatoes home at the end of the day, and that's not easy for, you know, our everyday consumers. So are we a bit, you know, sitting in our ivory tower saying we need to eat in season and we need to pick right? But does every consumer have the
I
ability
think
to do that?
we've all
We're
got a
very
job.
privileged.
We've all got a job in helping with that. You know, we've got the We Eat Balance campaign and Love Lamb Week and things like that, which is great. But it's also, you know, people like you and helping the consumer understand and understand it doesn't have to be a massive roast. There's, you know, some quick, easy ways of doing these things.
And that's the thing I reckon where TikTok's come in now, we have shown the world so much more that people didn't know about farming. Like we show our day-to-day lives of what we
Yeah,
think
exactly.
is the normal, but to someone else that's completely
It's
unheard of.
alien,
And
isn't
it's
it?
exactly-
It really is
it's alien.
alien.
People don't understand, oh, this is behind the scenes, this is how many hours people have to work for us to eat this little bit of food that's cost us a certain amount, which they just go to the shop and pay for. They don't see the work that goes behind.
I just think they want to half the time.
No, they do see it and I just hope, like, I always used to see it as I hope people appreciate, makes you appreciate what you've got. Like you go to the shop and be like, someone's put their so much time and work into producing, for example, this beef or these sheep. But they don't like, obviously I can't make everyone appreciate things, but I just hope he gives people an inside view of what's kind of going on.
And also realizing there's people behind it, because people, as we saw in lockdown, the whole buying direct thing actually really grew, and people like to have that story behind where things have come from. It's not a faceless, massive,
a good connection.
yeah, absolutely, which helps.
And I think, like you said earlier, that is not necessarily just with the butcher or whatever. So that is great, but that's not affordable for everybody. But it's so even the people that have to buy from supermarkets, they can still have that connection through the various things that you guys do.
Just quickly, I'm going to go off TikTok. I'm going to go live on YouTube now. So if you're watching,
Did everyone get that? How did you go live on TikTok?
I know, mine.
Does anyone know how we go live?
Yeah, if you want to carry on looking live with the content.
Does anybody
So everyone be looking at my phone, I'll be like, I literally Googled, how do you go live on TikTok?
Right, so Tom.
Everyone, welcome to the modern world. And how they run themselves on.
We don't know how.
And they don't know how.
I said, how do you go live on TikTok? Well, let me tell you, Max, and what you do is you get one of these.
I think the normal medium-sized supermarket, guess how many lines it has that the Joe public can walk in there. Guess how many things they could buy?
Must be a few thousand.
Oh,
So 32,000.
32,000.
Is the average medium-sized Sainsbury's or Tesco that they stock. And so there's a concern now, especially as we go, it's all doing good, but as we go to this an economic scenario that people are going to, so again, it comes down to persuading the consumer to have what we need, which is key things like bread, like milk, like beef, like lamb.
The other thing what we chatted about, I don't know the figures completely, is that when like 50 years ago, the budget of the average household was like 40% to feed. Isn't it now 5% of your weekly budget is to feed yourself?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's a factor as well in what we're doing.
Because there hasn't been this, as we were saying earlier, there hasn't been the food inflation because the retailers have kept it down.
Yeah.
In some respects, penalise the grower because they want your milk to be the loss leader, to get them in to buy the more expensive branded products.
With regards to beef, I've told this story
Probably
before.
gone up slightly though, haven't it, last few weeks?
Yeah, it has. But in 1997, a bulling heifer was £1,200. If I was to go to Pemberton tomorrow and try and buy a blue cross bulling heifer, it would be £1,200. Not much more. The price has not risen. And yes, everyone says, oh, beef, swine, it's doing really well. It isn't. Actually, it's not risen with everything else. And when you take into account, like you said, the cost of your fertilizer, your diesel, the electric,
Is that because our sector are poor sellers? We're not Texas stuff, we're just poor sellers.
I think that's changed recently though with the cereal sector, because we've all seen 300 and we're all like, well, we're not selling it till we see it again.
Really?
Definitely. And I don't know anyone selling grain at the moment because it's
And how do you use, and that's kind of part of what we
the word has turned.
How do you use market information? What do you look at?
We obviously look at the AHDB.
Every 10 minutes. It's going to be something.
No, but in all seriousness, AHDB need an app so we can check it quicker. They do have a good website, but it's obviously market information. But I will monitor the markets 3 or 4 times a day. And if there's something happening, even more, and I'll be like, right, there's no food to sell. So like last week, I saw a sweet spot and sold a little bit. Monday, I sold a bit of barley. But you just need to know.
You can have a notification, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You used at the threshold, and it goes bang, sell.
Well,
that's why we have phones. It's so quick. You can do it.
Yeah.
But the modern day technology, there should be something that should be made a lot easier, like you say, like that.
Yeah, well, there's a few merchants have apps, but AHDB have quite a comprehensive website about market prices. But it would be better.
But just to explore that again, you think that farmers are getting to be more competitive at selling?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Because we've got to, we can't sell at a loss now.
Because
because it's a
you-
big
you
one.
will-
They're not gonna come looking for it. I think we need to go and give it.
But also, we're still
dictating the price, aren't we?
we're still going to be price takers though, and when
Yeah, but we're not taking the price at the moment, it's not good enough,
But
which
it's
is something that never normally happens.
I was just gonna say, I think it depends though, if you can keep it in your shed like, wheat or
Yeah.
whatever you've just combined until, you absolutely have to sell it because your sheds are too full or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're, particularly in things like pigs and poultry, if it's ready to go, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Who remembers 2 months ago when certain supermarkets weren't stocking certain brands of, don't want to name them, but very commodity tin brands, because those companies just backed away from the supermarkets and just went, nope, and the supermarkets had to.
They have to give. So
yeah,
it is
so
possible
it
as
is,
a unit.
Yeah.
100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mark's popping the phone.
I think the problem is a
How
lot
do you
of
put the
farmers
camera?
are
Oh,
pushed to
here.
sell.
Well, it says
and
enhance
so
in the
even
bottom
if
right.
they wanted to.
Yeah, because you need
And
the
then
cash
put
flow.
the-
Okay, well,
Yeah.
So I think, we have this conversation.
Yeah.
Technical problems
Right,
going on
hold
over
on.
there.
Let's listen.
We have kind of these conversations, and you probably all have them around the dinner table at home. Well, why don't we just sit on it? We'll never sell it. And we need to make our neighbour do it and our next neighbour do it. But quite simply, it's just not possible. As we were just saying, the cash flow is absolutely vital. It would be amazing if almost farmers could just do a boycott for a bit, but it can't.
For trade groups, there's a lot of specific or general trade groups. What's the general view of those trade groups? Because shouldn't they be fighting your corner?
I mean, we're not involved in any of them, but I don't know if anybody else is.
The only thing we could do,
Yeah.
the only thing we could do is not load anything out on a Monday.
And
But then they know it's all
Sheep,
coming up.
Pigs, wheat.
Yeah, but they know it's all coming on Tuesday.
Yeah, but
You know-
it'll cause disruption unless they pay more.
No, because they know a lamb's done when a lamb's done. If a lamb goes over 45, you get penalised for
And
it.
cattle as well.
Cattle
about
up
40
to-
days. Yeah, exactly. 40 days. I can't remember.
So on the flip side,
Yeah.
you get. On the flip side, yeah, so this is from a farming side, for your consumer followers that's listening and watching, what is the message to them? So, how can they help support you guys on farm?
Eat local, shop local.
Can I just, there's a question coming on Facebook. So for all of you guys, what good trends do farmers want to see grow the most? Sustainability, British, or eating better quality but less?
Oh,
Say that again, repeat that.
So what good trends do farmers want to see grow most in the UK? Sustainability, British, or eating better quality but less of it?
Surely
All of
I
it,
don't
yeah.
think we could pick one of those, because what we're all trying to do as farmers is
The
make
one.
food sustainably. And I was talking about sustainability. It's not just the environment, it's a sustainable
It's
business as
exactly.
well.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
sometimes people forget that we're a business, and without profitability, we actually can't put the crops in the ground for next year.
Well, we're always going to be to the weather, and we're always going to have losses some years, if not most years.
Yeah.
We've got to be sustainable by having the cash flow.
What did you say, Tom?
So I've got a little bit of comment. Someone answered it online, and they're kind of all the same in a bit. They're not that much variant, do you not think? Like local British sustainable, so you'd hope it's sustainable for British farmers. And I can't remember the third one, but like they're all kind of like they're not. It's not like black and white, that is it? It's very beige.
It's not brand, you're not selling a brand there, really, are you?
Need to move down.
Sorry.
Can I just go back to what, if you feel alone farming, that you're just this lone voice, that there isn't this union, this collaboration of all of you to create this better general income for people?
We were until we started on social media.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, it's such a good point that you make though, because farmers are up against it so much of the time that it's almost inherent to keep your cards so close to your chest, because you have to protect almost what you've got. And so knowledge sharing probably isn't where it should be. Farmers can be really competitive with each other over social media, and I'm sure we all get it. So there probably isn't the cohesion there that maybe there should be, but you can absolutely see why farmers have to stick up for themselves sometimes.
And I think, was it yesterday, World Mental Health and that's very pertinent, isn't it? So it is quite a lonely and quite sometimes a sad industry. But I think
I think it is. Sorry to interrupt there, but I think the thing that the social media is good at, and like I think everyone kind of does the same. Obviously, we do YouTube and things go wrong.
Yeah.
And I think the amazing thing through social media and stuff, life isn't perfect. I think a lot of farmers, we're massive on it. We were talking, well, you guys were talking about before that TikTok takes away stuff that you're putting on because life is not perfect. Do you know what I mean? Life isn't this sunshines and rainbows. And yes, we have these great times on social media. It's great, but you've got to show the bad as well. And us showing the bad, I say everyone watching, everyone doing this, shows that someone else who's struggling, who's had a bad day, a lamb died, a pup died, spent X amount of money on it. But if it goes wrong for us, then someone else is going wrong. Do you know what I mean? You get that same reaction. So it is lonely, but I think social media is great for farmers in a way because they're not alone in hill.
Do you love farming?
Oh yeah, my friend.
Excellent.
When I have a bad day, and because I do a video every day, it's easy to have a bad day most days. You dump it on the internet and you find that most people that day have also had a bad day, they've been watching, and then they all feel better.
And you
I like that. Yeah. How do you feel as a present? I think that's really a good idea.
Because it's the biggest lie in the world when someone says, "How are you today?"
Well,
I'm fine.
Second biggest lie in the world.
Check
I've
the
had
phone.
the conditions, and I love you.
But with social media, can you all create change? It's great to hear that you're having a good day, bad day, bought your combine.
I like to think
Can you
so,
create
yeah.
change? Because we know what the issues are currently. We're going through these really interesting economic times. You look at other sectors that have combined together to gain more income for those sectors. Can you not all come together to drive that change?
So
Let's have that
I
thought.
think it's happening. The fact that we've got this voice here.
As a collective, I think we're a lot stronger than on our own. I think we're battling for our own causes.
I'm just shocked that there's trade groups that have been going for 70, 80 years, and by the sounds of it, none of you are overly excited about them when they should be the voice of you, but actually you are your own voice now.
I think I feel rather dictated to as a farmer what you're going to receive for your product. Like, I want a massive pile of straw and said, it's not a good price, so I'm not selling it. We can't do that with beef cattle. Once they are ready, like I said, they're ready and they're going to go, because otherwise you're over your age and then they're worth less. And then, you need to say, it's a difficult thing.
I do think, so I appreciate in that moment in time that that's very hard to change. But I think over time with what you are doing here and the wider industry, you build that empathy, you build that sort of connection with your customer. Change is never going to happen overnight, but it is building. So it becomes a more positive thing. Talking about positive, what gets you excited about it, and what is it you love about farming? So why do you carry on? Let's, Gina.
Who just come over and talk to me?
So I turned swiftly. Farming is a struggle. You really have to have a love and a passion to do it. And if you have a passion and a goal, it's something to work to. And once you achieve that goal, there's always another goal. And it's challenging, but I love a challenge. And like I say, you have to love what you do, and be passionate about what you do to progress.
I find it really grounding, farming in general, no matter
Wholesome, isn't it?
what is going on, like be it, and we've all lived through it, pandemics, the Queen dying, your mum and dad, even something terrible like that happening, work goes on.
I was going to say, you don't get.
You do not get to stop. You are dictated to by the weather, the seasons, and it makes you very grounded, and it keeps you, where you should be. You don't get carried away with what's going on in the world too much, because you've still got cows to look out, you've still got hay to put out, you've still got, or crops to plant. Regardless of what's going on, you need to do it. And I think that's quite a nice thing, isn't it?
Joe.
Yeah.
Before you fall asleep there. Yeah.
After bedtime.
A little bit, yeah. I know it's just rewarding, isn't it? I suppose. Like you go into a field, you start drilling it, you start planting it, and then like 2 weeks later, you come back, it's there, it's growing. You see where you've done your drill mistakes, like what I've done today. But like you've done it, and then you come to harvest, and it's just, I don't know. There's always something different happening as well in a rolling farming. If you're just like working on a farm, like as a tractor driver or something like that, because that's what I like to do with my channel, is like try and get it and show people what farming is about, who maybe aren't really from a farming background. So like, I think it's good.
That was going to be my next question, because, you know, something we'll talk about hopefully in the future is labour and attracting new people into it. So, you know, how do we attract some new bright talent into the industry?
I actually think to get people in the industry, we're not showing them early enough what you can actually do in agriculture, because farming isn't just what most of us know that time doing in a field or lambing a sheep or driving a tractor, albeit that's what we all love doing. You get into your tractor and the screens, most of which I don't know what all the buttons do, let alone the coding and all the stuff that goes into it. So I think there definitely needs to be more at the education level. Obviously, yes, showing like what actually goes into farming, but what we need from young people coming through into our industry
to
make it be sustainable. And
I think what Joe Public thinks about what a farmer does is actually changing to be completely different. So if I go into a pub and like I get talking to somebody and say that I'm a farmer, they think that I'm like, I've got a spade in my hand at like exactly. 6 o'clock in the morning, like shoveling this, and like that's all I do all day, and it's very manual. Well, no, now it's like you said, GPS is coming in, like I'm running all our farm cattle stuff through a PC, a computer system. Me and Charlotte were talking about getting IEDs, they're bombs, aren't they? Like tags in.
Tags in.
Audio on your document.
Have you heard this example? There's a Lincolnshire farmer 18 months ago who was trying to find a head tractor driver, advertised, couldn't find anyone. And one of his mates who wasn't in the sector had a look at this £250,000 worth of tractor and drill and sat nav. He said, it must be like being a computer programmer being in there. And the farmer said, that's an idea. So he advertised for a software engineer, got a dozen people, explained that it was actually a farm and all this kit. Had 3 people who came out, and all 3 of them wanted the job. Yeah. Now he's got a guy out of, I think it's Nottingham, who's now on a farm running all this kit and loving it.
Because that's great, because they'll love it because of the numbers and stuff. And all you're doing is
typical information, the spreadsheets, and
you're completely
no missed drills. No.
Your office view. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
We always say, oh, this is our office is better than yours taking a pic.
Yeah. Did anyone go to Groundswell this year?
I couldn't buy my sandals.
So cereals was the atypical sort of average age group of blokes in their 50s in suits. Groundswell, the average age was 30. There's so many younger people there because of the sustainability, because of the regenerative agriculture, whatever your views are. But it had a great buzz because there's so many new people coming into the sector, because that's the hook, regenerative agriculture and sustainability. We're finding that there's people not wanting to go into the city, or they want to come to the country to investigate carbon neutrality, regenerative agriculture, sustainability, and we've all got our views of that. But it's bringing people into the sector, so it's happy days.
It's made it kind of cool, hasn't it? Instead of it being for like when I was younger, if you were slightly not the brightest, you would end up at agricultural college.
It's the same the world over.
No, it did. Well, honestly, it was true, and it was like if you didn't have left now to run these things, and I don't think that you can just.
You're not a farmer. You're a business person.
Am I?
You are.
And then you are told, but then no, you're right.
No, you're right. Ourselves of what we actually are.
Yeah.
And day to day, it's not just farming.
No,
it's a bit of, we can't joke about it, but you do have to know a bit of vet stuff, a bit of agronomy
stuff. Of course you do.
Business stuff. Yeah. We have to know a bit of that every day. And we're not experts. We take the advice on it.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a generic term, though, isn't it? So like, I'm a farmer. If you went back 50 years, a farmer just managed staff and all the farm workers did the work. Now, someone that drives a tractor would be called a farmer. Someone that managed the farm would be called a farmer. It's such a catch-all thing.
But again, you have that difference between a driver and an operator.
Exactly, yeah.
It's your level
a steering wheel attendant.
Or a software engineer.
And I think that is probably one of the greatest beauties as that's changed and the different things you can do. So that it's not the same monotonous job all the time. I think, and you see the seasons and all that. I think that's definitely a big selling point. we should put out into the industry. That would do the
So
work.
building on that, another comment that just come in, any ideas on how we can break this stigma? So in the public's eye, our industry is low paid and low skilled. We're trying to recruit new people into the industry. What is everyone's thoughts about increasing a supply of labour into the industry by changing that stigma?
I don't think there is a stigma because Clarkson's helped with that. I think the biggest problem is competing with the wages because they can earn 40 grand a year driving a truck.
Yeah, they can. I said, we said that we had this conversation earlier and me and Roy were actually talking about it. In terms of staffing, if you went back, when did we say, like a couple of years ago, you were getting a tenner to work on a farm per hour, you were getting a tenner to drive a wagon, and you were getting a tenner to drive a digger. And then now you can get a fortune driving a wagon, and yet farm wages have stayed the same.
Yeah, Monday
And
to
you're getting
Friday.
dirty.
Yeah, digger drivers, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, you know,
Predictable hours.
12 on a
Yeah.
Friday, but then 12 on a Friday, yeah, done.
And in our job,
That's
nobody's
all
getting hurt.
And then I'm like, 2.5 times more. It's mad. Do you know what I mean?
It's like 40
Lunchtime.
grand a year to drive a wagon. Why
Well,
would you not take that? over
But then
five?
again, I've had people that have worked for us and then worked on them industries and always want to come back to farming.
Why do you think one is that?
We have a mortgage in Cloudford.
Well, yeah, there is that, yeah.
Why do you think that is, Jerry? Let's explore that a bit.
They love working with us, that.
Why not want to work with me? But yeah, no, I don't know. I think it's like the monotonous. I think a lot of these higher paid jobs on building sites where you know, driving a tanker or something like that, very monotonous. They're doing the same thing every day. Whereas like if you come onto a farm, you're working in a family business, which a lot of farms are, not every farm, but a lot of farms are family businesses, and they're looked after a bit more than in just by commercial entity. Like
It's good for you though, isn't it? Do you not think it's really, it's soul food, you know?
The grounding.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a good job. I enjoy it so much.
I like the fact that because the season, being arable because the season's changed, the job changed.
Yeah.
So just when I've had enough of combining, I will then start drilling, and just when I've had enough of drilling, we'll start running fertilizer. And then
It's
when
the
I've had
same
enough
with
of
us,
that,
yeah.
we're spraying, and when I've had enough of spraying, we start combining again.
I think that seasons thing is really important because like Clarkson's book and quite a few of these kind of agricultural books are based on the seasons, and that's the way to make it resonate with the consumer as well, and then get that wider knowledge of what they can eat in season, because they realise then that things go in a cycle. And if we talked about seasons, it's just, oh yeah, well, farmers are complaining that it's lambing time and they're tired. But when you get someone like Clarkson coming in to talk about the seasons and a bit more about what actually goes into them, he obviously has that voice already, and it helps. And he has that platform beyond what we have, because he's had another job that's not farming.
It's funny though as well. It resonates because it is hilarious, and they find it fun to watch. And he's putting it across in a really interesting but fun way, which I think people are enjoying watching. You know,
So it's also good for the sector.
Oh, 100%. I think it's brilliant. I really do.
If I go, London very rarely, but if I go and see friends from uni, and that wasn't an agricultural course, wasn't an agricultural uni at all, and the first question they pretty much ask is, have you watched Clarkson's Farm, or will you be watching the next series?
Yeah.
They then go on to say, oh, so how's that, is that comparable to your life on the farm? But they wouldn't really ask as their initial question, how's the farm going?
Yeah.
But because they have a way in, because also it's hard when consumers don't actually know the way, and it's something that they don't know how to talk about at all. So Clarkson's given them a way in, and then it gives me more to talk about.
So you're not from a farming background?
Me?
Are you?
Oh, I'm fifth generation,
All right.
but I went off to uni
Yeah,
to do something completely unrelated. Just as my parents said, you know, you
I
did
did
quite
so,
well in your exam, go off and do something different. And I came back to the farm full time about 18 months ago. Was never, always planned to have a job, you know, for many more years. Family illness, and I had to come back early. So I wasn't meant to be on the farm now. I was meant to be, you know, 40, 50, you know, as old as you get to the farm. Yeah. Yeah.
You're not from a farming background. So tell us a bit about your.
Can I tell TikTok? It works, yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Does anyone know?
God, like everyone wants to go that.
I'm sorry. There we go. Yeah, look at that. We see everyone now. I'm so sorry. You'd think I'd be better at it, but I'm not. So
Should I repeat it? Are you ready, Tom? So we're listening.
Give me time to think. It's
Right.
fine.
Yeah, we planned that. Tell us a bit about yourself. You're not from a farming background. How did you get in up here?
So I moved to the home family, well, I say farm, it's not a small one, we literally only have a couple of pigs, been more horsey my whole life. And my neighbour was a pig farmer, is still a pig farmer. And I was always more interested in the livestock route, and he said, oh, why don't you go off to college and give it a go? If you don't like it, obviously you don't have to carry on. I went to Sparshot in Winchester and I fell in love with it. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I lived in there for 2 years. Went straight from there, worked on a potato farm. I was very lucky through going to college. I got contacts. So a friend of mine got me a job on a potato farm, which was quite big at the time. It's called Green Seeds. And yeah, from there I kind of just progressed up. Went to potato farms every year. Went on to for a private contractor. Learned everything about grass. It was all hay, silage, haylage, and straw really. So kind of just through there. I started from rock bottom, and then, well now I've ended up in Lincolnshire. I started in Surrey, so so it's something.
Quite a few people are asking on here about new entrants, and
Yeah,
I actually
same
get
here.
messages from people saying, how do I get into farming? And for me, it's quite
Give me
a
a job.
difficult message to answer, because I'm lucky that I've never had to get into farming. So I guess what would you, if there was like two, three top tips or something, and I guess you were looking at having a slight rural background that, you know,
Yeah.
gave you a like half a foot to know what you wanted to do, but what would people do?
If you really know for a certain fact, or if you like have a slight thought in your mind, you want to give it a go, I would hands down just do it. Just do it. Because if you don't, you may regret it. Like if you don't go and give yourself that opportunity, that chance to like it and fall in love with it, like, you never do it.
No.
If you don't just put your foot in and
So
yeah,
we've
I mean,
got
that's all
an
I do.
apprentice at our farm. If people watch the videos.
Go on,
And she's not from a farming background, not all. But for some reason, since she was 5, she decided that she wants to be a farmer. And so she's over the years she's applied at different farms. You know, can I work here? Can I work here? And always been knocked back. And I think that's like a common sort of thing that a lot of farms don't take people on without experience, is what I get from people. So what Em did was she worked in a car valeter's. So she just washed cars and did things like that. So one next place that she went, so I can work, I can turn up at somewhere, I can do a job, and these people are going to give me a reference and say that I'm good at it. Then she went on to work in a horse place, which she didn't want to do, but you know, that's like a way then into agriculture. And
Don't blame her.
yeah, I'm not as boss as you. We better not say too much.
Don't
Serious,
do
you know. But yeah, and then when she sent me a message before TikTok and everything on Facebook and said, can I come and do a day a week on your farm? So I'm going to do this college course, agricultural college. So I knew that she was good on that side because she wanted to go to agricultural college. And then all her pictures on Facebook were literally just like her and a farmer, or her and a cow, her and a this. And I thought, well, this girl, this is her passion. This is what she wants to do. We'll try it out.
Yeah.
We'll give her a chance.
You had a question about the farmers wanting experienced workers.
yeah, that's a tough one, because a lot of people want people with experience, and they don't give people a shot because, okay, understandably, not everyone's going to be like, I'm going to treat like this kit as if it's my own. People are quite careless in the sense of like, I'm not being stereotypical, but I am at the same time. You get your standard 16-year-old, look at me, I can drive a tractor, roaming it around the place. So you know I'm not wrong. They break stuff. They don't really care because they don't have to pay for it. Whereas I've always been taught you have to treat stuff as if it's yours, and people don't always have the same mindset, which is understandable. Anyway, not the point. It's hard for everything being as expensive as it is for a farm to give their shot and their chance into someone to train them, and it's time.
That is the thing. So I get people all the time want to come and work for me because they think they're going to be on YouTube or drive a big tractor, but them breaking or damaging one machine
Sets you back.
it's equal to paying someone that's got 20 years experience, like
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
someone can do so much damage very quickly.
Like combined headers.
Yeah. Like, everyone makes mistakes, but like we had someone work with once and he was young and wanted a pay rise. And it's like, I can do everything everyone else can do. So I give him a pay rise, and within a few weeks, he'd done like 10 grand's worth of damage to stuff. And I was like, someone older wouldn't have done them stupid things that you've done.
I think there's also, they used, when I was on farm, used to call me Isaac the crack director, Isaac the terribles, and I was good at stockman, but so I think it's maybe some working to people's strengths and making sure, you know, some giving them the training, but also working to their strengths. Terrible on the tractor, but you know.
You're not nailed it on the head, because we're so busy, margins are tight. You go into any other industry, you go for an intense training course.
Yeah, staff training.
You do this without anyone you do this with someone watching you, you supervise it, and then you do that. Now, like, I know what I'm like. I'm flying around, and that's my own fault. But like, I can't afford to be paying someone to do my job, someone to watch someone else. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. It comes back to what we were chatting about. Like, I don't, might not sound awful, but when people start, you've got to watch them. I don't care if it's a 30-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 45-year-old. If they're new to it, you've got to watch them. We just don't have the time because margins are tight and we're working 70, 80 hours a week.
Well, we're not got enough staff.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So I know it's horrible, and I'm going to put a bit down, but I'm just looking at it, we just need to train people a bit better, maybe.
You also, so us, for example, our farm is kitted out to reduce labour because of the almost shortages that we've had, and also we're trying to kind of reduce costs at every moment. I mean, we hardly ever plough anymore. So that means you don't plough, you then don't cultivate, you don't do whatever other steps you need to go to. We go in with the drill, and that's drilling done. So actually, that's now a one-man job, where before you would have needed more people, things were slower. All farms are having to reduce costs, and reducing the labour requirement is one way that we're doing that. And farmers, you know, it's a vicious circle, like I said.
We were speaking to a fella before, weren't we, about staffing?
Yeah.
And he was saying, in the local villages around him, you know, in the past, he would have employed lads from the villages.
Yeah.
There's no lads there. They don't want that as a job.
Someone just said on here, don't underestimate the power of just having someone shadow you. So I guess how would, like, just having someone follow you around,
Yeah.
which is, you know,
They kind of need to be paid though, don't they?
well, I guess if they're really, I think people, if they're willing to get into it, particularly when you're younger, particularly if it's alongside college.
And what Joe had mentioned about apprenticeships, yeah, that's a really good way of getting people into it.
Yeah, because you plumbers do apprenticeships, don't you?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
We had 2 apprentices of the year, and we had another one, but he went to full-time college.
Yeah.
We do have quite a few people like in our area that want to come and volunteer on farms with us. I mean, well, Ash and Mick, they both volunteer, but they're sort of like friends. But we get, I would say, 1 or 2 people a month wanting to come and volunteer to do stuff. But it's just finding that time, like Tom says, to train people. It's difficult.
That because habitually you've always done what you've done, and you're not brave enough. Just come up
Well,
with
it's a little bit like though, you've got 100 grand telehandler and 100 grand's worth of kit around you in sheds and cows that can get their heads knocked off. You can't just go, oh, off you go.
From our perspective as well, livestock wise, you've got a duty of care to your animal. You've also got a duty of care to your member of staff that you've just employed, whether they be 40 or 16. They are your responsibility around massive animals.
You speak to a construction guy, he's got 100 grand's worth of digger.
Yeah.
He'll have more staff hanging around. And the nicest way, someone's life's more expensive than a combine. Do you know what I mean? They still get people coming in at a young age.
They'll have a lot more extensive training though.
Yeah,
won't they?
they'll have to send you on a week course, so.
And everyone, just on the tech side of it, you think of our parents' generation when they were hand loading sugar beet into trailers, or carting around 15 kilos sacks of wheat. You look where tech is going, automatic milkers. We didn't envisage those 10, 15 years ago. Can you see that tech is going to advance your businesses? That when we're here 5 years, 10 years down the line, you will have some form of automated thing wandering around your farm checking the livestock.
100%.
Definitely.
We'll be sat here, won't we, driving the drones? Just warm the drones.
Are you positive about that? Is that going to?
And for you.
Yeah. Like I am happiest. I don't know if anyone else, we talk about this X, Y, Z. Like I am happiest when I'm covered in muck.
Yeah, me too.
Dealing with cows, something goes on, and that's where, and that's genuine. you know, milking in the morning, carving cows, spreading slurry, mowing grass.
Automatic milkers, do you know the biggest downside of those guys for trying to sell them is you, because you didn't want to adopt them because the comment was, what would I do if I wasn't milking?
We just ordered gin.
You know what I mean? So yeah, you say all that, oh, we'll do this electronic stuff, and it's probably more efficient. But like,
That's
I've been talking about what you enjoy in farming and what's the thing. Farming. So the other thing I watch, I'm going on a bit of the other thing that I'm doing a little bit of B-reel, literally I've got like 2 followers, whatever, and you can look through the discovery page, and I'm like maybe doing some field work or doing what I'm just normally with cows or something, shop. And then you look at people, and it's my opinion, it's what I like about farming. I look at it and like they're in an office, they're in a building, and I just think, I couldn't think of anything worse. You know, I like doing what I do, and that's what maybe obviously I have my own business, so it's a little bit different for myself. But that's what I like doing, and I couldn't see myself doing something.
And we all know there's people who commute or did commute into like to London or whoever, do an hour and a half each way. They're just ghosts on a train.
What was the
right.
change?
You're driving a pod bike past them, you can see all these little heads on a train, and you're like,
What
it's
was
a different life.
Yeah, but what was the change in you talking about how can we change people? COVID changed people. They looked out,
They
they were
changed
looking
back
and
now.
you're like, they might have changed back, but then you look at a few TikToks. I don't know, there's a lady who got involved like 2 years ago. She had things, she got a few sheep, now she's with a boyfriend, husband, I don't know. And now she's doing it because you get on TikTok and showing new entries. There's a couple of new entries in it on Instagram and stuff. Amazing. They just couldn't be arsed sitting on the M25. They're struggling to get through, but they just know what they don't want to do. They know what they want to do.
And they're
Do you know what I
scared
mean?
but happy.
But I think so what you've just done, that passion and that, you know, I think that is what we need to show people and what you guys are doing. And I think that you and Ollie should swap, because I think Ollie's really keen on the covering in Mark Ollie's, and I can see your eyes.
I don't want to get up at that time anymore.
Mate, that one is the best. It's the quietest. The phone doesn't ring, and all the cows want to do. They want milking, they want fed, they want cleaning up. That's it. No one else wants anything. No one wants to ring. No one wants to bother.
All I've gone to ringing at 5 o'clock this morning.
What's that message from this morning?
It's because I get my mostly thinking done, because you go in, it's great.
It'll give you
We
time.
need to tell everyone, so basically we're all in a WhatsApp group set up for just this meeting. And at 4:53 this morning, Tom decided to get to the WhatsApp. Luckily my phone was
Mine.
But the best thing was, it wasn't something that you could just roll over and just read. You had to press the play button and
And
read
And he was chipper.
Oh, yeah.
God damn it.
We did it on purpose as well. Right, so we've got a couple of minutes left. Just to end it on a positive as we are. What is the opportunities you see in the industry? What are the things that you think, and you know, this is where we're going to really capitalize in, you know, in the next few months, years in the industry? What's the opportunities of there?
For the people watching, if you're not farming, the opportunities are that there's loads of jobs going on farms if you can find them and get trained up.
I reckon it's also, sorry to interrupt, to do it, if you can show and prove you've got the right mindset, people are willing to give you a chance. You just need to prove yourself, and that's one of the things, obviously not from farming background, I have to prove myself every step of the day. The person I worked for prior quickly, he's like, I've never had a woman work for me. So I'll prove to you I can do it. I turned around and not being big-headed, but he went, you're better than half the lads I've ever had work.
So what did you do to get
Wow.
into it? What was your first step? Did you go knock on his door and say, I want a job? What
No,
did you do?
so-
Did you go on, you know, and
No,
for
it's
farmers?
through friends, that's
Right,
why.
but don't asking about
Networking,
networking, yeah.
Going to
young
college,
farmers.
yeah.
That's the
It's-
biggest thing. I think
Farmers,
if you're not in farming, although I am too far too old to be in young farmers, I never had the opportunity when I was younger. I think getting into young farmers is a massive thing.
Was
It's a good thing to do.
You should explain how you ended up farming.
I got with my husband, Roy, and he was a farmer. I lived in the middle of Preston. I was a carer, nothing to do with farming at all whatsoever. And I was saying to Ollie that he just dumped me on a farm and said, look at that car farm, and there was no choice. That was what you had to do. So I learned the hard way, and I did do it. And then all of a sudden, I just thought, this is what I am meant to
True
do.
love.
This is everything. It was amazing. So I used to farm around care work, and then he also had a family business, so we had to farm after 5 o'clock at night. So when everyone else was clocking off, we were clocking on.
Wow.
You know, and then we work it around 2 different jobs, and then in 2016 we got our own farm, and we've been going from there.
Wow.
But you know, it's just you're meant to do it. You know, even if it's hard working. Like now it's hard work. We're trying to build a business, but we will get there. And you know, one day.
And the opportunities then, with the hard work, opportunities are there.
Yeah, if you're willing to put in the graft, and it might look, it is all very fluffy on social media, isn't it? And I do try and portray quite the tougher side of it, where things do go wrong, because not everything's perfect. But I think that helps other people as well, because they don't want to see everything being shiny and
It is.
happy, and
It's not
you know,
bad.
because they feel rubbish about their own lives.
Becca, what's the opportunities?
Oh, I think that's a really good question. I'm actually going to say, like us, like this younger generation coming through, and this is no disrespect to, you know, obviously my mum, my dad, my grandparents who have all been farming, but we're hopefully, even just by utilising social media, are bringing something a bit different. We're reaching consumers in ways that haven't been done before because they haven't needed to be done before. But I think there's a really good movement of younger people who are desperate to make a difference and do farming in the best way possible. So hopefully, it's people like us, without not sounding big-headed.
Yeah, totally agree.
I think it's a little bit sad though, that there's more money telling the story about farming. Than
Yes,
actually, you know,
yes,
from
I do.
farming,
Yeah,
Which is just the crazy thing.
Isn't that, always the case? There's going to be
Yeah,
different
yeah.
opportunities.
Mm.
Yes, I hear what you're saying, but it's finding where it works. So, there's a role for that, but it's, this will drag it all up and make it better and just showcase the industry better, and so that will hopefully become a snowball or better. Max, opportunities.
I think there's some key points that come out from today. So the likes of Jeremy Clarkson, there's a buzzword phrase of driving societal change, getting people more interested in agriculture. There's so much money coming into agriculture. This is a bit of a depressing comment, but it's also positive for the people in ag, horticulture, and fresh produce. Last recession, all of the funds globally came running into farmland globally because they saw it as a safe haven. With a perceived recession coming up, the same thing is happening. The funds globally are running into agriculture, to invest into agriculture, because it's a long-term asset, and into ag tech. So there's a lot of money coming into ag tech. So coming back to the technology that's coming through. So there's going to be so many opportunities for farmers and people in ancillary industries to get involved with. And it's
Genetic, smart breeding, all this kind of stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So there's so many opportunities. So again, it's a really exciting to be a sector to be in, and we've all got to be open-minded and have automatic milkers.
I've actually been asked to talk at an investment event in London on the 1st of November, because they're saying that is where the money is going to be invested.
Yeah.
Right, into making food.
Yeah.
Because it's suddenly everyone's realised how fragile.
Well,
it is.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
I thought I knew it.
In a world recession or a world war, God forbid, or a world pandemic, if you're in the eating game or the cleaning game, people got to eat and people got to clean. And if you're in the eating game and you're growing fantastic fresh food, fresh produce, fresh meat, what a sector to be in, rather than being a ghost on a train as an accountant in London or wherever.
Any final opportunities before we start wrapping it up? Any final?
I think what we should do is ask the people that are watching, before we thank the people that are watching, if we were to do another one of these, should we have topics, and if so, what should they be about?
Excellent call. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I reckon we should do, for example, like either on your stories on Instagram or Snapchat, have like a question answer, be like what topic, or give a couple of topics and then.
Yeah, well, this is quite rushed, but we could say like the next one's going to be then.
Yeah.
Send in your things. These are what we've got so far. Vote for your best topics. And maybe do it like that.
Discuss.
And what about locations? So AHDB headquarters in Estonia are fantastic.
Well, I can sort it out.
But we like to have locations presented to us.
Yeah.
it sounds like we're up for this again. I do get nosebleeds going too far north.
Really? Oh, carry on.
We could do one to use Spot Farm Shop if Mr. Clarkson's listening.
Why are we in Estonia? And all of us.
We're from all, we're all
We're all
no,
done.
yeah.
You're 2 hours from me, and then everyone else is 4 hours from me.
I've managed to twist your arm, yes, and it's nice and simple here.
Yeah.
No, I think so, yeah, it sounds like we're gonna do this again.
I will say that I think it's unfair for young farmers who want to buy their farm can't because big investors are pouring money into land. Yes, but then big investors need that land farmed, so there will be opportunities for people to rent land.
No, yeah, but still, oh, we've got that going in. But still, like, I get what they're saying, like, you don't just want to rent land, do you? You want to, as a new entry, and I know as a new entry, as a,
Somewhere,
yeah, exactly, you've got to start from somewhere, you are going to rent it, but then if these guys are inflating the prices, it's hard for a new entry to get involved, like our family, like a few of us, obviously, lucky, new entry, there's 4 here who we've been very lucky to I'm 5th generation farmer, so my dad had to start from somewhere, my great uncle, I had to start from somewhere, so they are making it more difficult, do you know what I mean, and inflating prices of land is very hard for a new entry to get involved. And if I was new entry,
it sounds like it's
sorry,
topic.
yeah, you've got to point.
And then we'll do some session like that's a 10 part. So you got some scars there.
No, but I just so many stories.
Yeah, well, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for all of you for coming down from up north.
You have to travel really far.
Yeah. And it wasn't too hard to understand either. I thought I needed a translator, but another. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for everybody that was has been listening. Drop it in the chat what you want us to chat about next time. Looks like you want to say something.
Someone just said, what are the opportunities for someone in a wheelchair?
Wow.
Well,
There is.
Yeah.
They've
Oh,
done
they've
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that the orange valve that works for me uses now, that had a wheelchair that the lid fitted to it. And the guy that makes it isn't far from me. He's actually invited me to go to his workshop and see him make it. And he's done loads of conversions now.
There is
Because you
also
don't need the leg to drive a tractor.
Seen the harmless farmer?
Yeah, he was amazing, wasn't he?
Yeah, just
Passed away, unfortunately. But yeah, how amazing was he?
Can you see that one where he changed a wheel on his truck?
No.
Crazy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, if people want to check that guy out. It's
Yeah, the harmless farmer, but he was making it work, wasn't he? It's we need an Aggie to make it work a little bit better for them.
Yeah.
If there's people like this, amazing.
And I think there's all kinds of diversity and to get people because there's so much talent out there. Like you said, somebody said I've never had a woman work for me. So it's So and I think part of what we're doing here.
It's not just a vertical farming, you could say vertical farms, the ones that we're involved with, they have a control room. And so they all need to be monitored and driven. So it's not just the physicality of it. There's a lot of tech options out there for people with disabilities as well.
Yeah, it's actually Tom Lammer knowing me saying about the investors buying land and making it difficult. I've farmed land, contract farm land for investors for many a year as well. So that's another way.
I just had someone comment saying that there's no land left if housing developments carry on buying it still though.
I've had
There's
loads of housing ones.
Loads of those,
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like we're going to have a few topics to go in months to come. Right. I'm going to draw to close. Mark, tell us a bit more about delivering the future.
Yeah, so thank you very much. We've had a great discussion and there's lots to go on. Again, a shameless plug, Delivering the Future of Farming, 10th of November, online event, hour-and-a-half sessions. Register, follow that QR code or look on the AHDB website. It's where you can hear where your levy's being spent over the next 5 years.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So if you want to know more about what we do at AHDB, look at our website, some AgriLeader and what Mark and I do. And so we'll see you shortly. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Well, you don't want to some people be watching won't know how to find Tom or won't know how to find Charlotte. So
excellent. So let's go around the room. Who's who?
Follow Tom on.
So you can follow me on Tom Pemberton on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and Snapchat as well.
Charlotte Ashley Farm, and I'll be on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
Rebecca Wilson on Instagram is my main one.
Joe Seals on YouTube and on TikTok. Both the same, Joe Seals.
Excellent. Isaac mostly. I'm sorry. I don't count. I'm not an influencer. I've got 2 followers on Instagram.
Let's get eyes to 1,000 followers.
AgriLeader on Twitter.
Oh, Georgina Sammut, I'm on TikTok and Instagram.
Ollie Harrison, but it's Agri Contract, Ollie Blogs on LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat.
MySpace.
Social media, Ollie spreading your beds.
MDH Campbell on Twitter.
And Max at Beanstalk at Global, beanstalk.global. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, that was brilliant.
See you guys. Thanks for watching.
How do you stop it?